Hey y'all, welcome to Couch Conversations. I was having a hard time getting my camera on. Thank y'all for tuning in for tonight's show. This is going to be a very good show, and I'm excited about tonight's show. If you've been watching, I have been doing the Taboo Church Talk series, conversations you won't hear in the pulpit. We are on episode 3. Yay! Um, our first 2 episodes were Sex and the Saints and abuse in the church. I'm sorry, y'all. I was trying to figure out what it was. But we are back with Dollars and Doctrine. And this is something that I have been kind of excited to talk about for the simple fact that I noticed that a lot of different things go on with church and money. And we want to address it tonight. We want to talk about it. Um, One of the things that I really wanted to talk about was what the church does with the money, and how they use exploitation of the doctrine to collect money. So we're gonna really get into it tonight. I'm gonna try to keep it in an hour. I'm gonna try to keep it within the hour. Um, but y'all just bear with me. Y'all can see my background is different tonight because I'm in the bed. If you just now tuning in, I hurt my leg a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I've been trying to go on with this series in the midst of everything going on. And the last 2 weeks I was podcasting from the studio. The new podcast studio is up, but it's just not finished. So I decided to just be comfortable and podcast from my room with my leg up and not be stressed out and my foot swollen. Well, it's a little swollen anyway. But y'all make sure if y'all have any comments, y'all make sure to drop y'all comments in the comment section so I can read them. And we're going to get into it. So tonight we're talking about dollars and doctrine, and money, and the talks of money makes people uncomfortable in the church. Um y'all talk about it every Sunday though, because we got to talk about offering, we talk about tithes, we talk about building fund and all these different things. So it does need to be addressed. And one of the things that need to be addressed is where the money goes and how they exploit people for the money. So we gonna get all the way into it tonight, okay? Um, so one of the things I'm gonna talk about tonight is tithes. We're gonna talk about prosperity gospel, and I want to start off with tithes. So a lot of churches preach tithes and offering. I'm very torn on the subject of tithes only because I don't know completely where the tithe money goes. I know where it's supposed to go. Tithe money is supposed to be 10% of your income that you pay into the church for the upkeep of the church, the lights, the gas, the upkeep of the church. Okay. Um, when you start talking about mega churches and larger congregation churches, it starts to get a little iffy, and the line starts to get crossed, because then you start having situations where the ties are, hey y'all, the ties are going into um the pockets of the preachers, and we need to address all of that. Thank you to everybody that's watching on YouTube. I see y'all comments. Hey to all of y'all, appreciate y'all tuning in. Thank you to everybody watching on Facebook as well. Thank y'all, I appreciate it. So let's talk about tithes. Should we be giving 10% of our money to the church? And I'm gonna just tap on this line with ties. I don't believe that you should be just be giving 10% of your money. I believe that you can give 10% of your time. I've seen people tithe in different ways. 10% of their time, 10% of their money, um, just different actions that they do. They give 10%. And I don't think it always has to be financial. There are members who are financially struggling in church. You want them to pay tithes and offering and pay into all these different funds. And it starts to get expensive to be a member at church. Um, Especially when y'all really get deep into it, it really starts to get expensive. And one of the things I want to talk about that I'm just going to slide right into from there is prosperity gospel. And I notice a lot of the prosperity preachers preach tithes and offering and all these different things. And it goes beyond tithes and offerings sometimes. You start getting into building funds, you start getting into preachers. We all know of, or you may not know, I don't like to really get into names on my show, but we know of a preacher who went viral for asking people to donate for them to get a jet. I thought that was a lot. When you already have people that are tithing, giving offering, putting money into other parts of your church, other ministries in your church. A lot of them are struggling. A lot of them don't have cars. A lot of them are trying to put clothes on their back. I've heard a lot of preachers. I went through a whole mega church messiness series about a lot of these mega church preachers. A lot of them will tell you, give your last to God. If you want God to bless you, give your last to God. And a lot of people are literally taking that and giving their last to God. And I know that you're supposed to have faith in God that He'll bless it and return it 100-fold. But it goes beyond that for some people. Some people, when you tell them to give their last to God, they literally take that as that. They will not pay their rent. They will not buy groceries. They will not feed their kids, clothe their kids because you told them to give their last to God. And a lot of preachers aren't letting it be known that you have to take care of your household as well. You can't just give everything to God. And I know that sounds like, oh, I'm not having faith, but I'm sorry, y'all. If you give everything to God and you're literally giving it to the church, but if you give everything to God, how you gonna pay your bills? How you gonna pay your rent? How you gonna pay the stuff that you got going on? So, this be what I be talking about. That's all I'm saying. Just um the whole prosperity gospel. I mentioned a couple weeks ago about people putting their cash app in their captions or whatever for prayer. If God blessed you with a gift, I believe you should just give of it. I'm not saying let people suck you dry of your gift, but I believe that you should give of your gift that you were blessed with. It should not always come with a price tag or a cash app or an Apple Pay attached to it. Um, when you start getting into charging people for prayer, then that's where you start to exploit God for finances. I believe that's where the exploitation comes in. Um, One of my notes says a lot of pastors live in luxury while their congregants live in lack. That's something that I really have an issue with. It's okay for your pastor to live in luxury when he went out and acquired an income outside of the church. But when he is sucking the church dry, I have an issue with that. Um, One of the things that I don't think that a lot of people know is there are different like 501c3s and things like that. So it's a lot of funding that comes through the church as well. Everything is not just your dollar. Um so sometimes these pastors do be sucking people dry. They be sucking them dry, like literally sucking them dry. Excuse me. Um so let me grab my notes cuz y'all know I got notes all the time. And I wanted to get into some of the notes that I have. I usually do print them out, but I got them in my phone this time. So let me find them real quick. Okay, one of the topics that I wanted to talk about, and y'all might not like me for this, is the black church specifically and how they exploit how they financially exploit single women. Um Now this is where my deep dive comes in. So a lot of single women go into church looking for the answers to different peer pressures, social peer pressures, economic peer pressures, work peer pressure, all these different things. And they get into the seed sowing. A lot of these preachers preach about seed sowing, and I talked a little bit about this last week with the emotional abuse attached to some of the churches. And this don't go for all churches, okay? I'm not here to talk bad on the church. It's just a lot of this stuff has been brought to light because of social media. But black women especially, they go to these conferences, they want to be Ruth, they're looking for their Boaz, and that is not everybody's place in the church. Everybody is not supposed to be Ruth, everybody is not supposed to have a Boaz. And you go to a lot of conferences for single women and they implement this thinking, which is really exploitation, because you're spending your money to go to these conferences for them to tell you something that you want to hear that is not necessarily true. And then you leave feeling, amped up, ready to go find your man, and then time goes on and you haven't, and then another conference comes around, so you're spending money on the next conference trying to get advice over here for some things that you want to know about over here so that you can still find your man. And everybody's not meant to have a husband, everybody is not meant to be Ruth, everybody is not meant to be Boaz. And that's the one that they kind of pound over all these single women's heads to get them involved in what's going on. I'm multitasking, y'all, because I'm not on my computer, I'm on my phone. I'm trying to go through notes that I have printed out and notes on my other phone. So y'all just bear with me a little bit. Um so another thing that I was talking about was people pimping their gift. And this is just something that I was just randomly talking about earlier in a conversation. Preachers or prophets that pimp their gift. And the reason I say pimp their gift is because you have people out here, and I mentioned her before, so I'll say her name specifically, Juanita Bynum, who are charging $1,500 to go in their prayer closet and send God a prayer for you, like you can't get a prayer through for yourself. The Bible tells you how to pray, and if you pray according to the Bible, you can get a prayer through. um just paying somebody to get a prayer through or to prophesy to you and to tell you what you want to hear. And I'm gonna tell y'all this, and I know this might sound a little insensitive or whatever, but to me, when you start paying people to prophet, oh, I'm hitting my microphone, I'm sorry, y'all. To me, when you start paying people to prophesy for you, that's like, to me, this is just my opinion. um when you paying people to prophesy for you, that's like going to a psychic. And the reason I say that is because if the gift is real, they won't want to be paid for it. And I'm not saying it in a way like, um it's not okay to give a preacher, like, y'all bless y'all, y'all preachers and prophets and pastors, and y'all bless them. A love offering is amazing. Y'all want them to travel. I believe in paying for their flight, things like that, they hotel. I'm just saying, for me to call you and you tell me I need to cash app you $100 for you to give me the word of God, that's just too much for me. That is absolutely too much for me. Um, I just been ranting and ranting and ranting. So prosperity preaching. Let me get into that some more. And I'm gonna have to go back and look at y'all comments because I really can't see who's commenting and who's not. I don't have the same view that I have from the laptop. Or wait, this was the other one. We're gonna get into this one right here. Financial mismanagement. There's a lot of financial mismanagement that goes on in the church. And this goes back to what I was saying about people giving their tithes, their offering, and it goes in the preacher's pocket and not into the ministry itself. Um, prosperity gospel. Lord have mercy. It's just a lot to say about that. Um, so financial mismanagement is when people are mismanaging the money of the church, the money that is raised by the church. They're telling you it's for one thing and it's really for something else. I'm trying to blow this up because I don't have my glasses on. Patterns of financial mismanagement. Here we go. Let's get into it. Um, concentration of power and charismatic leaders with unchecked authority. So, for instance, a preacher who is kind of running rampant. Nobody can tell them anything. There's no board on the church. There's nobody overseeing them. They're just doing what they want to do. That's what that means. A lack of financial oversight, independent financial oversight, which is a third party. There's a way that you're supposed to handle money in a church. It's a 501c3, and there's the way that money is supposed to be handled in a 501c3. It's a lot of 501c3 fraud that goes on, not just in the church, in other places too. But yeah, you're supposed to have third party financial oversight. Um, prosperity preaching and seed faith theology encourage excessive giving to the point that you're giving it all, like I was talking about earlier. Informal and poor accounting practices, the blurred lines between the personal and the ministry's finances. A lot of people know of the guy that went viral, the preacher, a few years back. He was on trial for mismanagement of church funds. And when they were reading what he was doing with the money, he was spending it on like Louis Vuitton suits and things of that nature. And he was trying to account for a house and all these different things that he bought with the church's money. But yeah, yeah, the mismanagement. That's what we're talking about. Um, so I actually printed out a couple of examples. In New Orleans, a pastor pleaded guilty to money laundering and stealing $900,000 from his church property and charter school. Um, a AME church leader was charged with misusing nearly $14 million in property funds tied to church assets. Multiple pastors and church administrators have been charged with misusing tithes. Wasn't I talking about that a minute ago? Misusing tithes and donations for personal gain. These examples reveal systematic vulnerabilities where churches lack oversight, independent third party accountability, financial transparency, and a leader with unchecked authority. So we got to do better with accounting for the money. It's sad when you go into churches and you see the building is beautiful and the pastor is dressed extravagantly and his wife is dressed immaculately and the congregation looks like they all struggle to get there. Like, that is so sad. They're giving their last and it's just being misused. The funds are being misused. So I have a question to everybody that's watching. Should churches disclose their budgets and salaries? Should you know how much your pastor is getting paid? Should you know how much is being spent on what? Should there be financial accountability? What do y'all think? Um, so why this discussion is taboo is because most pastors, most administrators, most people tied to the church do not like to discuss where the finances are going. They do not. They do not like to discuss where the finances are going. Um, there's probably more churches with financial accountability than not, but it's big. It's big that churches don't have financial accountability and that they are not concerned about anything going on outside of what their agenda is. Um, Let me look at some of these comments. Let me see if I can see them. Oh, I can now. Hey, girl. And thank you if this your favorite show. No one. No, because who says it's going to be the truth? Okay, yeah. They misuse the money. Yeah. Okay. Thank y'all for commenting. Because for a minute, I couldn't see the comments. I could only see that it was people watching. I couldn't even see who was watching. So y'all make sure y'all keep commenting. And I'm going to try to see if I can keep them coming. Because, yeah. Them. Y'all comment below and let me know that y'all watching. Okay. So let's talk about I was saying why this is a taboo subject. Discussions about where tithes and offering go is always taboo. How much pastors are paid is always taboo. How much the church invests in the community versus the infrastructure often stirs discomfortable conversations. Um, Uncomfortable conversation. I said discomfortable. Uncomfortable conversations. And prosperity gospel makes it even more sensitive when you have pastors asking to help them buy jets, or you have a certain prosperity pastors that have 2 or 3 jets and they still want another one. They own multiple properties and they'll tell you that some of this stuff comes from book sales or things of that nature, personal appearances. But personal appearances go back to you being a pastor. So how does that work? I just want to know how much are the pastors charging to preach? I need to know how much are y'all preachers charging to preach? I would like to know. Or do you just take a love offering and be blessed with the love offering? I'm just trying to figure it out. Let me see. What are we talking about tonight? Hey, David, we talking about dollars and doctrine and being accountable for the church's money. That's what we talking about tonight. So I have a question for y'all as well. Do y'all think that the church should invest more money into the community? We have beautiful, beautiful buildings. Do you think we should invest more into the community? So one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this is because the impact of attaching finances to God or dollars to doctrine is you have members that feel pressured to give while they're financially struggling. There's a lack of apparency that can breed mistrust, um, leading people to leave organized religion. And it raises questions like, should church leaders live in luxury while the members live in lack? That's a good question. That's a good question. Um, should members be forced to pay tithes and offering when they're struggling in their actual lives? And this goes back to what I was saying earlier about having faith in God. I do believe that you should pay tithes and offering. I digress on that one. I'm just saying I have an issue with people being pressured to pay tithes and offering when they are lacking in their own home. I had somebody tell me one time I should pay tithes out of my rent money. No, 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 no. God gives us wisdom. If he blessed me with the money to pay my rent, why would I take out of my rent to pay tithes to the church? The church is going to be taken care of regardless. So why would I pay tithes to the church out of my rent money and then be short on my rent and have to question where I'm going to live? That's not using wisdom. If y'all disagree with me, let me know. I'm just saying, to me, that don't sound logical. Let me read some of these comments. I know a pastor who, wait, I got to get back to that, who do homegoings, charge $500 for the service. Okay, so let me tell you how I feel about that. I feel like if the person is a member of your church, they have been paying tithes, they've been paying offering, even if they haven't been paying tithes and offering, and they've been coming faithfully on Sundays, especially if they come in Sundays and additional services, I feel like you should not be charging them to have any type of services as far as a funeral, a homegoing, a celebration of life, a memorial. That's just me. That's how I feel. Now, if it's somebody that you just want to come do it, yeah, maybe they should charge you something. Even $500 is a little steep because most funerals, it depends. That's a little steep. They should pick a few members a year and help them as they contribute all year round while lacking. Now, I do believe that. That's a very good idea. My honorarium is David, you hilarious. Not 1.5 million. Just give it to me and I'll tell you what happened. Oh Lord. Okay. So yeah, I see we kind of all on the same page. So let me get down a little bit deeper into this. Prosperity gospel. Okay, let's get to what prosperity gospel actually is. Prosperity gospel promises wealth or blessings tied to your giving, more so benefiting the leadership than the congregation. So that is what prosperity gospel is. I can name off a million prosperity gospel preachers. Excuse me, my lips a little ashy. The one that scares me the most, because I've watched him a few times and he literally scares me. Like I would never want to see him in person because he scares me just watching him. Kenneth Copeland is a prosperity gospel preacher. What's the other guy's name? Peter Popoff. He is a prosperity gospel preacher. Um, Most of the ones that you see on TV are prosperity gospel preachers. Creflo Dollar, his name says it all. He said that's his real name. Creflo Dollar is a prosperity gospel preacher. You said name one in Los Angeles. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to your comment before that. But if the pastor work, he's missing his paycheck to come to do your loved one's service, and that probably didn't. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you what my issue with that is, David, because I've been in a church where we've changed pastors a few times, and I've sat under a couple of pastors that I did not like, but I still came faithfully. I still gave them my money. And my thing is, if you're getting paid a salary from the church, because a lot of pastors do get some type of stipend or a salary from the church, if you're getting a salary from the church, then you should be able to go and funeralize one of your members. Now, like I said, if it's not a member and it's just somebody that wants you to come funeralize them, I can understand you charging. But if it's one of your members, no, I think that's part of your job. I sat under a leader for 25, 26 years. He is still alive. He lives right now in Houston, Texas. I sat under him for 25 years. That man is now 89 years old. Um, as a leader, I saw him, and this is why I don't have a problem with pastors getting paid if the church is their full-time job. I saw him as a leader. He took a salary from the church, or a stipend, because I don't even want to say it's a salary, but he took a salary from the church, but he attended court hearings. He did hospital visits. He would funeralize you. If your mama got sick and you wanted him to come pray for your mama, he would come pray for your mama. He was a full-time pastor. I have seen this man do jail visits. I have seen him bail people out. I have seen him do all kind of things as a pastor because he was a full-time pastor. Now, if your pastor working a job, I'm going to have to think about that one. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to have to think about that one because I understand your pastor is missing out money, or a person is missing out money from their job. But there has to be some type of loyalty to your congregation as well. And everything with your congregation can't be attached to a dollar. Name a mega preacher in Los Angeles, or a mega church in Los Angeles. The comment says Faith Dome. I agree. Yeah, that was a prosperity gospel church. I haven't seen too many other ones in Los Angeles that I have personally seen press the prosperity gospel, but I'm pretty sure if I went to a few churches I could find one. So let's talk about the transparency issues with churches. Many of them do not have a board. Many of them do not have third-party accountability. Many of them do not disclose budget, salaries, or the impact that they are having on the community. Okay. That kind of goes with the next section, which is biblical stewardship. Care for the poor. We definitely don't get a lot of that anymore. Name a pastor in Los Angeles who's in it for the money. I'm trying to think of his name right now. He was on Preachers of LA, and I mentioned him last week, but I didn't say his name. It just came to my head. Bishop McClendon. I don't know if he's still in Los Angeles, but he was in Los Angeles because he did Preachers of LA. He is definitely in it for the money. This man talked about how you have to pay for his entourage when you ask him or invite him to come to your church. You not only have to pay him for his appearance, you also have to pay for his entourage that travels with him to come. So yeah, that sounds like he's in it for the money. There are a couple other preachers that I've also heard speak like that, but I digress. Yes, sir. That's what I said. If you go back and watch Preachers of LA, go back and watch it. That's all I'm gonna say. A lot was said on that show. If y'all did not watch Preachers of LA, it is streaming. I forgot on what channel, but you can find it. It ain't hard to find. You can type it in Google. Preachers of LA said a lot about the Preachers of LA and how they think and how they maneuver. And I'm not saying all preachers are like that, but the one that they gave the hardest time is probably the one that I respect the most because he has had the most transparency, and that's Dietrich Haddon. Dietrich Haddon has been transparent about all his stuff. Yeah, when his stuff happened, he was transparent. That's all I can say. And he's not, I'm not going to say he's a public person, but he's not a private person either. So, you know, you can kind of go on his social media and kind of see what he got going on. I respect it. So members begin to distrust leadership when transparency is missing. It creates a divide between the wealthy pastors and the struggling congregants. And it pushes people toward viewing the church as a business instead of a ministry. So let me explain this to y'all. The church is a business. Behind the scenes of a church is a business, but the congregation should never feel like they're part of the business. They should come in feeling like they are part of the ministry, the congregation. They are here for whatever needs they have. We talked last week about the church being a hospital. If they're coming to the hospital, they should be able to come in and get whatever need they have taken care of. If you come in and you feel like you walked into a business at a church, it's probably not a good place for you to be, especially if you're dealing with some church hurt that we talked about last week. Hadn't told me $8,000 to $10,000. Now, let me explain something to you, David. Let's take a pause on the dollars and doctrine. Because as a pastor, $8,000 to $10,000 is ridiculous. Now, if he's coming as an artist, I can see that. If he's coming to perform, I can see $8,000 to $10,000 because of all the accolades that come along with Dietrich Haddon. Even as a preacher, I could see him charging some type of stipend because he's an artist as well, and Dietrich is gonna pack your place. So that's kind of where that's a thin line because he's an artist and he's a preacher. It's a lot that go along with that, and as as working in music as an artist, 8 to 10,000 is really good for Dietrich Haddon. Yeah, you just got to get a place where you gonna make your money back. Um, but yeah, I could see that. I can actually see that. But yeah, so one other thing I wanted to talk about was tithing your time. A lot of people think that you're supposed to tithe your money. And I mentioned tithing your time earlier, and I want to get a little bit into that. Tithing your time. If you're struggling and people are talking to you about tithes, you might want to tithe your time. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you not to do that. But if you can't put your money in the offering because you need to pay your bills, I told y'all earlier, don't give nobody your last. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't give nobody your last. But if you have it to give, God bless you and give it. If your bills is paid and your rent is paid and you got food for your refrigerator and your kids is taken care of and you got a little extra, uh, give it. Give it. Give it lovingly. Now, God loves a cheerful giver, and I want y'all to know that that's biblical. God loves a cheerful giver. I think that people take that text out of context because giving does not just consist of money. God loves a cheerful giver. Whatever it is that you're giving, be cheerful in giving it. Tithing your time is big for me because somebody told me this a long time ago. We were talking about tithes and offering, and they told me they tithe more of their time than they do their money, and that their time wouldn't even equate. I'm sorry, y'all, my watch buzzing. Their time wouldn't equate to 10% of their income. And I get that sometimes. Sometimes you give more time than what that 10% is worth. Tithe however you can. What I want you to remember is you're tithing to God, not to the church. Tithe to God. Your 10% is supposed to help take care of the upkeep of the church, not the upkeep of the pastor. Hello? Y'all hear me? The upkeep of the church. So if y'all can, tithe. I'm gonna tell y'all this too. I'm very big on tithing at the smaller churches because y'all don't know how much these smaller churches they struggle. Some of y'all be at these smaller churches and y'all can afford to give tithe and offering and y'all don't. If you at a smaller church, please give your tithes and offering to help the upkeep of that building, because a lot of these smaller churches are struggling. Y'all know I'm not against the church. I just don't go to church, and I tell y'all that all the time. Um, but tithe your time if you don't have money. Tithe your time. I don't want people to be so tied into finances that they don't be blessed because they're not doing anything. Um, One thing that I was telling somebody earlier that I do when I get large sums of money, I don't tithe my 10% to one place. I tithe it to maybe three places. Sometimes at a small church, that $20 is what they need, that $30, that $40, that $100 is what they need to get the bill paid, to get the building clean, to get the water, for Sunday. Y'all go to church and be asking for water. Y'all know that costs. So I'm not totally against giving money in church. I'm not totally against tithes and offering, especially at a smaller church where the struggle is real. I'm saying don't be giving your last. Don't be taking out of your rent. Don't be taking out of your bills to give to the church. Make sure that you taken care of at your home. And I'm not saying, and I said this earlier, I'm not saying that don't mean you don't have faith in God. I'm saying that you using wisdom. That's what I'm saying. Don't let people financially manipulate you or financially bully you and use God to do it. That's what I'm saying. Um, Hold on, because I got one more sheet I need to get to. I got 10 minutes left in the show. 12, 13. Let me look. I'm looking at the timer, y'all. About 13 minutes left in the show. Okay. So let me pull up some more for y'all. And I'm gonna tell y'all this. When y'all watch Couch Conversations, because I love my Couch Conversations viewers. If there's ever a subject that I'm talking about that you would like more information on, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I literally, any subject that I'm coming with, I'm doing a deep dive on it. Especially this season, I've actually been keeping my deep dives. So anything that I've talked about this season, you can double back. I got it printed, probably highlighted and written on, but you can always get a copy of whatever my deep dives are. If you would like to take it and do a deeper dive yourself, feel free. Just reach out and I'll make sure I send it to you. Some of this stuff y'all probably will want to talk about or, research on your own, especially when it comes to mental health and the ministry. And it's amazing how many pastors have mental health challenges, how many preachers, how many leaders have mental health challenges, which is why I wanted to address that last week. And it's not talked about, it's not dealt with. Every now and then you see on social media, pray for your pastor, but we need to take it more seriously. We need to deal with mental health in the ministry a little bit more seriously, um, because church hurt is real. And what y'all don't understand is just like the congregants get hurt, pastors get hurt. I've heard rumors about pastors that wasn't true. I know they hear them about themselves, so I'm pretty sure that's hurtful. Um, so everything that I'm talking about in this Taboo Church Talk series is not just to bash the church. It is not to do any of that. Just because I don't go to church don't mean that I don't believe it's some good churches out there, because it is some good leaders out there. I brought this up because these are conversations we are not having in the pulpit, which is what we're talking about. And we got to start having these taboo conversations. We got to stop being fearful of losing members, or losing tithes and offering, or upholding traditions and things like that. And we got to address some of these subjects, because what a lot of people don't realize is these subjects not being addressed in a faith based environment, that means that they're being silenced and people are dealing with things on their own. And a lot of people don't know how to deal with them on their own. Sometimes they need to be able to sit down and talk about, Pastor, I have a problem. I have an issue with pornography, and I need to know what scripture to go to deal with my issue. I need to know what scripture to deal with my masturbation issue. I need to know what the problem is over here and how to deal with that. I'm having suicidal thoughts. I need somebody on your staff that can help me and sit down and counsel me and be a licensed counselor. I talked about that last week. We need more licensed counselors in the church, more pastors with doctorates and things like that that can really help. Just even a licensed a licensed social worker, somebody that can really help with mental therapy. We need to deal with that more in the church. So I don't want y'all to think that while I'm out here having these conversations that I'm bashing the church. I am having conversations that we don't have, that we need to have, that are taboo, that we need to bring to the light, and people need to be held accountable on certain subjects as well. We talked about sex in the saints, and in that conversation I was trying to find out, why is it that it's okay for a pastor to get married, but it's not okay for him to date? He got a date to get married. Like, it's, y'all don't want to talk about that though. Y'all don't want to have that conversation. Y'all don't want to talk about premarital sex, even though it's out here happening, and y'all want to push it to the side and act like it's not. And then y'all want to condemn the young lady when she get pregnant. And why is it that y'all condemn the young lady when she get pregnant, but not the young man? Why is that? Why is the young lady always got to be the one to apologize, but not the young man? See, we need to address all these things, and these are the things that I want to bring to light in this series. So it's been very interesting just talking with y'all about these different subjects, and even outside of this subject. If you want to talk about narcissism, or you want some of my research on narcissism, dating, relationships, any of the subjects that we've talked about on this show, all you have to do is reach out to me. I have it in my computer. I do not mind sending it to you and letting you go and take my research and do your own deep dive and figure out where you need to be in life and how to get there. Y'all know I ain't nowhere near a therapist, but I visit my therapist every Friday. I'm happy to say that I've been dealing with my own mental health struggles and my own faith struggles as well. Um, but these are all things that we need to talk about. Um, so we really need to hold more people accountable about where the church's money go, and we need to stop using prosperity gospel and these single women conferences to exploit money from people. Y'all will single woman conference a nigga to death. Y'all have like 10 single women conferences a year. And then Tyler Perry came out with this Ruth and Boaz movie, and he's selling y'all some more uh dreams, and it's insane. But I'm gonna say it again, everybody is not a Ruth, and everybody does not have a Boaz waiting for them. Yeah, I know that's something y'all probably don't want to hear, but it's the truth. Uh, so the issues of financial mismanagement in the Black community, they are not only about money, but they are about trust. They are about integrity. They are about stewardship of the community. And reform again begins when faith leaders embrace transparency. When faith leaders embrace transparency. I'm not saying we need to know where all the church's money go, but yeah, we need to be accountable for something, and we need to stop attaching dollars to the doctrine, because if you go read in the Bible, there was very little money exchanged in the Bible. If I'm wrong, y'all let me know. But as far as I can read, it was very little money. As far as I can recall, it was very little money exchanged in the Bible. But they talk about tithing and offering and all these things in the Bible. And a lot of these things had nothing to do with finances. And even though finances have came into the equation, we do not have to continue to exploit people for finances. Um, I just money and church is just a touchy subject to me. But let me go back to some of these comments. Nobody should be apologizing to people about what they're doing in private. I agree. And that goes back to what I was talking about. It's about sex in the saints earlier. Let me see what this comment is. I believe every church you have a meeting saying X, Y, and Z as relates to how much the building. Okay, yeah. So you supposed to have like a church business meeting, right? And the church business meeting is supposed to cover all of those things about where the church's money went through the year, and whatever money was left over that was not went out on expenses. They're supposed to tell you what account it goes into. Every church is supposed to have an annual church meeting. Most people don't do it. Let's just be real. Most churches don't do it. They don't want to give y'all that much transparency. Let's just be real. That's too much transparency in the house of the Lord. Um, a lot of preachers won't tell you how much they make at a church until you want to book them, and then they tell you how much they charge. Um, so transparency and church do not go together, which is kind of what this conversation is about. Money makes people uncomfortable in church. That was how I started off the show. Money makes people uncomfortable in church, yet every Sunday it is talked about during the offering. And some churches have several offerings. The church I used to go to, they have two every Sunday. So they have the general offering and they have the benevolent offering. And then on fourth Sunday, they have like 3 or 4. Yeah. And then on fifth Sunday, they have like 3. So I know when you go to certain churches, they have a few offerings and things like that. I can actually say, for the most part, I knew where the money went. Now, I am going to get to this before I close, and I know I'm going to have some people jump down my throat. Amy, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say her whole Facebook name. I'm not going to say her last name. Amy posted a video a couple weeks ago of a church. I'm not going to say the name of the church, that had a $1.4 million church budget, and they don't have $1.4 million worth of work on the church. So that's what I mean by financial accountability and financial transparency. When you have that kind of budget and you don't know where the money went, when you have a $1.4 million budget and it only seems like $500,000 worth of work was done, that's the kind of stuff that makes you think. No, David, I'm not saying their name because they suffered enough when she posted the video. That's why I don't want to say her last name or her Facebook name, because y'all could go find her and y'all could scroll through and find the video. I'ma say this though. I'ma say this. If you want to see the video, inbox me. That's all I'm gonna say. Inbox me. But yeah, I'm gonna probably get in trouble for that. But y'all know I don't care. Um, but yeah, this is Couch Conversations, and my job is to expose people. That's how I started this show. I started this show exposing people for their shenanigans. Y'all know that. Season 1, that's all I did. And while I'm on here, I'm gonna go really off the subject. Thank y'all for tuning in for Dollars and Doctrine. But while I'm live, I just have some things to say. Well, this kind of ties in with the subject. So I watched the Marvin Winans video, and I also seen the video of him and the lady after, and the lady was defending him. She said why she defended him. Y'all give Marvin some grace. That's all I'm saying. Y'all give that man some grace, because y'all know as well as I know, as well as y'all know, that things on social media can be posted, taken out of context. You only get a 10-second clip of a 2-minute video. Y'all give him some grace. That's all I'm gonna say. Give him some grace. Yeah, I had to do my little research on that. It was their annual giving day. There was more to the video than what they showed. I did get to see more of the video. And I'm going to say this to y'all. Social media is what it is. Y'all know people is on here getting paid for engagement. Y'all know people can make up stories and post them. Y'all know people can put whatever they want on social media. There's no like fact checker unless they decide to fact check you, which usually be a year or two later. But Google is free. Y'all should Google stuff before y'all repost it or before you post it. With all of the misinformation that is on social media, y'all have to be careful what y'all listen to and what y'all taking in. Google is free. That's all I'm gonna tell you. You should be able to Google it and get it from a reputable site. And if you can't, more than likely it's not true. Don't believe who people say they are just because it's on social media. I had somebody tell me the other day a social worker posted something about the EBT situation. If she was a social worker, she would have known that they sent out text messages to everybody saying there's no EBT. People have been posting their texts on social media and they are legit texts. You can Google that there is no federal funding and it's not just EBT affected. It's jobs, it's housing, it's daycare, it's healthcare, it's everything. So y'all stop being so sassy and crassy and thinking everything is funny. If it don't pertain to you, you don't have to comment about it. There are people out here being affected. If it don't pertain to you, don't worry about it. But I'm just saying, y'all Google and find out information for yourself before y'all share it, before y'all say it. That way you won't be out here lying and spreading false rumors. Yeah, I just wanted to say that before I got off of here. But thank y'all for tuning in to Couch Conversations. My series, I think I have 2 more episodes left. Next week we will be talking about let me see. Pulpit and politics. Let me see if that's what it say on my sheet. Pulpit and politics. And we'll be talking about pulpit, politics, women in the pulpit. And David Jackson, if you are still watching, I need you to call me because I would like to have you on my last episode, which is the new generation. And I would love to have you as a guest. So if you are watching this, David Jackson, please call me because you would be an amazing guest for that episode. Um so yeah, y'all make sure y'all stay tuned in next week for part 4 of Pulpit and Politics, and part 5 is the new generation. Thank y'all for tuning in to Couch Conversations. Y'all know you can email me at couchconversationslive@gmail.com. You can message me at Couch Conversations Live on Instagram. Make sure you're following the Facebook page, Couch Conversations Live. Let me see. The Facebook page is Couch Conversations DMEG. Um, excuse me, I had to burp. You can follow me on the website, divinemanagement.weebly.com/couch conversations live. And you can subscribe on YouTube at The Real Danni Gyrl. I appreciate y'all being patient with me tonight. I had to stream from my phone. My laptop is outside. Um, it's been a hell of a day, a hell of a week, a hell of a 2 weeks. But next week I should be in the actual podcast studio. I don't know. We still have things to do. I only have a half a floor down and my walls are not up. But yeah, we'll probably be in there next week. He's been doing a hell of a job with this podcast studio. He got it up in a couple days. So yeah. Y'all just stay tuned and thank y'all for being patient. Join us for the Danni Gyrl Show on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Make sure you download the Podbean app. Submit your music to the real Danni Gyrl at gmail.com. Danni with an I, girl with a Y. Um, I'm always looking for new music. I'm always looking for new artists. And in case y'all don't know, we have started booking for the block party already. So if you need information for that, make sure you tune in, tap in, give me a call. Um, if you have any questions or you would like to be on the show, you can call me. No, don't call me. Text me at 702-578-6716. Let me tell y'all something, okay? I just need y'all to know this. I need y'all to hear me. Just because I give y'all my number on Couch Conversations don't mean that y'all can start texting me and asking me stuff like what am I doing and what do I have on? Y'all be on some freaky weird shit. My number is for business only. You will get blocked. If you've texted me before with the bullshit, you already know. I don't even ask who it is. I just block you. My number is for business. If you would like to be on Couch Conversations, you can text me. If you would like to be on the Danni Gyrl Show on Tuesdays or you have questions, you can text me. If you would like information about my business ventures, anything that I have going on, I do promotion, I do marketing, I do a million things. I'm a Jackie of all trades. You can hit me up. Don't call me on no weird shit. If you want to date me, then you need to be on Date with Danni, which is the reality show that will be airing next month in mid-November. You need to submit an application on couchconversationslive@gmail.com. Don't text my phone about being on Date with Danni, okay? Um, and yeah, make sure y'all tune in next Thursday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for part 4. Pulpit and Politics. Thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Also, one more thing. Y'all see that scrolling at the bottom right there? Show your support. Zelle or Apple Pay with my number. Y'all feel free to support. You can cash app me. There's my cash app. And you can also Venmo me. There's my Venmo. I know it's hard out here for a pimp right now. And any money y'all give me will go toward I keep slapping this microphone. I'm sorry, y'all. Any money y'all give me will go toward the new podcast studio because I still have a lot to do. But it will be done by my birthday. Hopefully. Hopefully. See y'all at my birthday party. If you did not get an invitation, make sure you DM me so I can send you the link to RSVP. And make sure that you stay tuned for all the other stuff we got going on. I'll be getting into shortly. Flyers will be coming out. Pontiac, Michigan. I'll be seeing y'all in March. Shout out to Jew Hall. Shout out to Big Gov. Y'all stay tuned for that. 2026, we gonna be moving around a little bit. So hope to see y'all in Vegas. Hopefully, every time I want to come to Vegas, it just don't work out. But hopefully I'll see Vegas next year. Thank y'all. See y'all next week where we gonna talk about pulpit and politics, women in the pulpit. I love y'all. And like I say every week, peace and have a divine night. Thank y'all. See y'all later.